Hello, folks. You are tuned in to Listen in 3D, episode number 3. I'm your boy, Justin Reed, aka Too Tall for You Fool.
And I'm Netta, aka Wondrous Net.
And together we are Team 3D. Just a call to action. If you like what you're seeing, be sure to give the video a like, share it around with your friends, comment just so we get any feedback, and definitely subscribe. Whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening to us on whatever podcasting form that you like to listen to us on. And if you are watching us on YouTube, go one step further, ring the notification bell. That way you are alerted of when all our videos are live. All right. So with that being said, listen in 3D, where we dissect, discuss, and debate the music in the world of hip hop and other music genres. So, what album are we discussing today, Netta? If you want to introduce that.
So today we're going to be discussing The Chronic, which was released on December 15th, 1992. It was certified triple platinum. It had 3 singles, including Nothing But a G, Dre Day, and Let Me Ride. It had guest appearances from Snoop Dogg, The Dog Pound, Lady Rage, RBX, and Nate Dogg. It was Dr. Dre's debut album, and not only that, but it was the first ever album released on Death Row Records.
All right, all right. Yeah, very good there. Thank you for that, Netta. Just before we get into the album, just want to just let you guys know that when we choose albums for this show, it's not going to be like a particular way like we do it. Pretty much that we got a bunch of albums together, threw it on a generator, and this is boom how they're popping out. So this was the next one, but for the most part, if we do need to make changes, we'll make changes like amongst ourselves, but we're not going to like release the list of, hey, we're going to be doing this album this episode. I mean, we have it for ourselves. So, just letting you guys know that. But, if you guys do have requests or would like to see an album that we may have on the list sooner, just feel free to let us know in the comments. But today we are doing Dr. Dre's The Chronic, and it is a classic. So, enough talking for me for now. What were your pre-listening thoughts going into this album? Any listening thoughts or album memories that you have of this?
I actually didn't know much at all about the Chronic. I think I asked you whether this was the album that Forgot About Dre was on, so that shows how clueless I was. Some songs ended up ringing a bell, but I don't really have any memories associated with it, or much of anything. What about you?
Well, I pretty much just listened to songs like through the radio, MTV, or whatnot. Or didn't have this on tape necessarily. I got the CD later on. I had some of the songs through Death Row's Greatest Hits. I had that before I actually had this album, so I wish I'd gotten this one first. But it's a good CD. It's easy to find on vinyl. As 30 years ago it was released, almost 31 years, and I actually do have the CD right here. If it's pretty easy to find. It's not if you want it brand new, and like I said, it's easy to find on vinyl as well. Cassette, that might be a little bit of a different story, but we're working on that. So, I mean, in terms of, I mean, for you cassette collectors out there, I mean, hopefully they're working on it. If not, then I mean, guess you'll just have to get a old junky copy unless someone kept it in like great mint condition.
So you got the album right in front of you. What did you think about the artwork?
Artwork. So I didn't really notice too much until I did some research on the artwork. I guess it's supposed to be like artwork of like a zigzag cover. I don't know if you ever like Googled a zigzag cover or whatnot, but it looks a lot similar to that. So, and then, just him in the mirror and, his name. I'm not sure what kind of font that is, but I mean, it looks like a pretty decent artwork cover, just a little
What is a
plain.
zig? What is a zigzag cover?
Zigzags, or well, zigzag is like something like you roll it up, or if you want to like run do a quick Google search, you'll see what it is real fast if you look at a zigzag cover. Um, but
Okay, like rolling papers.
yeah, pretty much
That
rolling
zigzag.
papers, like
Oh, okay, I've seen that before.
if you're gonna roll some weed up or something. So yeah, it's a little similar to that. Google Images, I think, would give you a better perspective of what it's supposed to look like. And yeah, just artwork. I mean, like I said, not the best I've ever seen, not the worst I've ever seen, but I mean, it's some pretty good artwork. What were your thoughts on it?
I thought it was pretty, minimalistic. It was kind of simple. You had the picture of him, but then they have, the frame around him is kind of like fit for a king. So I like that it's very simple, but he adorned it with a little, bit of stuff to make it like royal like.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. And definitely with the artwork theme, rolling up some weed, some chronics. I mean, that's obviously the theme of the album, but not every song, pertains to smoking or anything like that. But I think one would probably think differently, So it should be interesting what we thought of, the songs and everything. So speaking of which, let's get into your favorite verses, your bars. Now, I kind of want to do this a little different, and probably should have put this on outline too. Also, try to highlight not just Dre's bars, but also your favorite guest appearance on this album's bars as well, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I guess the one I liked of Dre's was I guess verse 2 of Let Me Ride. I guess
Okay.
it kind of reminded me of the album cover because it's also kind of minimalistic. He's like uh just another day for Dre, so I'll begin like this. No medallions, dreadlocks, or blackfish. It's kind of like, he's just saying he's all stripped down. He's just a true gangster, I guess, whatever that really is. But I liked it. He's talking about how he made the beats and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
thought it was cool. Um, and I like that, I like that he made the beats for the album because it's
Hmm.
like eh, I know today it's not that unusual to find somebody to make beats, but back then that was probably pretty cool. Like computers were just kind of new for everybody back then. For him to be into that, I thought it was kind of cool. What verse of Dre's did you like?
Um. Well, there are two of them. Let's. I'll go back to "Let Me Ride" for a minute. I like the third verse. Especially the part where he says, "Is it Dre? Is it Dre?" That's what they say every single day in LA. I did the radio version of it, but I actually like the radio version of that verse a lot better than the original version. And I know we'll get to the music video part in a sec, but also in the music video of that third verse, when he says every single day in LA, like you'll see like in like a little shadow, like or like a little like cut scene of the LA City Hall. So I thought that was pretty cool with Let Me Ride. Another verse I liked was his first verse on the song Rat a Tat Tat. Um, I like the part where it says, "This is for the hoes that I used to know when I didn't have my 64 and a lot of dough." So I thought that was actually pretty funny. So I mean, yeah, that whole first verse I thought was pretty just was pretty classic for the most part. So I mean,
Is that who he was? That's what he was like dedicating the album to, the hoes that he used to know.
Maybe not that whole album, but well, I mean, I
Oh,
guess, but
okay.
yeah, but I mean, I
Um,
thought that was pretty funny. All right. Any
yeah.
non-Dre verses? Any other artists on this project that you want to highlight?
Yeah, I felt like it was almost Snoop Dogg's album too. Like he was on so many of those
Oh yeah,
records.
yeah, yeah. Snoop
The
had.
one I liked with him was I liked the one where he's saying when you're broke you break on it was verse 3 of Lil Ghetto Boy.
Okay.
Um I really liked that whole verse, really the whole song, but
Yeah.
that was my favorite thing of Snoop.
Yeah.
What
uh,
about you?
yeah. When it came to Snoop, I liked his verse in "Bitches Ain't Shit," the last song. I thought that was a pretty smooth verse, and then also, what was another song I liked from him? Uh, Nothing but a G thing. That whole first verse, I thought that was just so smooth how he did that. Little thing about going back to Little Ghetto Boy for just a minute. When I first heard it on Death Row's Greatest Hits, I had Death Row's Greatest Hits on tape actually. So it's not like MP3 players now where it tells you like, oh, blah 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 featuring. So I didn't know that was a whole Dre song until I got the Chronic. So I mean, but yeah, you would have thought that that was a whole Snoop Dogg song if it didn't tell you. So yeah, just make sure you
Yeah,
guys read those
I wrote
credits.
down I wrote down that same thing. I said Snoop made this song. Like he was really the like the anchor and everything. Really in a lot of the songs on the album. But that
Yeah.
particularly, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, for the most part, so I mean, and then also another artist I want to highlight too, real quick. I mean, they weren't my favorite bars, but I really liked RBX's sound in the whole album. I think he was great on the two songs, "Lyrical Gangbang," and also liked his bars on "Stranded on Death Row." So I mean, RBX, yeah, you know RBX, the guy with the like real deep voice.
Yeah, I remember hearing his name a lot,
Yeah.
throughout the album.
All right. Cool. So anyway, enough with the bars and verses. What was your favorite beat?
I liked the beat on These Nuts.
Yeah,
It was like
that's pretty good beat. Pretty good G Funk beat.
it, it reminded me of playing the Sonic on the Sega Genesis. It was like I think that probably came out around the same time, so they have a
Yeah.
very similar sound. But I really liked that beat. Which one did you like?
I like the Let Me Ride beat. That was probably my favorite beat. These Nuts was a great beat as well, and I guess another great sounding beat on there was "Bitches Ain't Shit," but
Hmm.
but in terms of like, I mean, it was a whole G Funk sounding album. So for the most part, "Let Me Ride" I think had the best melody. It uses that Mothership Connection sample, George Clinton sample of yeah, the Mothership Connect. I forget the name of the song. I'm having a blank right now, but yeah, I can just send you the original song of what it was based off of after our show. So um, anyway, let's get into singles and music videos. So let's start with the "Nothing But a G Thing." Thoughts on the song and music video?
The whole time, every time I heard that over the years, I thought they were saying Anna, like ANNA, like it's like this and like that, Anna. And when I looked at the lyrics, it's like and I was like, what? But
Yeah, sometimes you gotta go through rap lyrics to see what they're really saying.
yeah, I like the song. Like I said, I thought Snoop made it. I
Mm,
like the video when the girl is there's some bougie girl who's like there's like a railing that she touches, and then
Yeah.
she wipes her hand like she's
Oh,
so like, oh God, and then they end up pouring like all kind of beer on her or
yeah,
something.
that was funny.
Yeah, I thought that was fun. She was rolling her eyes at everybody in the club, so she got her come up, and so I thought that was funny.
Yeah, nothing but a G thing. I like the smoothness of the video, pretty much just laid back. The park scene I think was funny, where old boy comes up behind the lady, pulls down her top or whatever. That was funny, and then just uh, definitely when girls getting squirted with their drinks or whatever. That was funny also. But definitely the
I,
whole.
I I I was wondering on that part where he pulls down her top. I'm like, that looked real. Like she didn't look. They didn't look like acting.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it was real. I don't know. I mean, I think they did their best to try to make it look real or just do
Yeah.
whatever. But I mean, it was it was definitely real life. But I mean, those were some highlights from the video, and then the song itself, I think, was smooth. Snoop, I think, definitely killed it on that first verse, and his second verse on there also. And the part where they start rapping together. Hey Dre, what up, dog? Gotta give them what they want. What's yeah? So I mean, I think they flowed really really well together. If you've heard, and I'm sure you've heard a lot of songs with them together. So they definitely bounce very well off one another. So that that's my thoughts on that one. Let's move on to the second single, Dre Day. We'll just call it. We're not going to say the whole name. Dre Day. Any thoughts on the song or music video?
Um, I thought I was wondering when I first started listening. I'm like, who is he talking about? But then I looked it up and I saw he was just very mad with Easy E at that time, and you know, saying he just felt betrayed.
Hmm.
Saying the guy used to be his homie and all that. But I liked the song. It was pretty good. There's a lot of just another homicide, a lot of murder stuff going on there.
Yeah.
But it was a pretty good song. I like the video. They had the fake Easy E, the like that was pretty funny. They had the fake Jerry Hiller calling Easy E boy. Then
Yeah.
Easy E went and found some clowns to do music with, and then the guy's like, just sign your life. I mean your name on the contract. And I was like, who is Luke? Whoever Luke is, who they simulated him like
Oh,
in.
Luke.
Yeah.
He was Luke Campbell, I believe. He's from the group of the Two Live Crew. I'm not sure what the beef they had with them during that time, but that's who the song was. This is for Easy E, Luke from Two Live Crew, and some dude named Tim Dog who made a song called "Fuck Compton," which I don't know why anyone would
Oh.
do that, but but yeah. So and then yeah, for Dre Day, yeah, it was a diss. I mean, maybe he was a little bitter. I think if you listen to Easy E's response, I think you can make your determination of who won the direct diss, I guess you could say. I don't want to get too much into that, but I mean, we'll do Easy E later on down the line, so don't want to give too much away with that one. And then I think Snoop Dogg. I think he brought it, and then again the third verse. I just like how they flow together, like go back and forth. They definitely have, like I said before, they definitely had great chemistry. As for the music video, it's definitely of the four music videos, it's definitely the funniest. um, yeah, for the most part, yeah, there were a few cameos in there. Those two rappers that the fake Easy E found were actually an unknown Warren G at the time and Bushwick Bill from the Ghetto Boys. So
Oh.
so I mean, yeah, so those were the cameos in the music video. I'm sure there are a few more that I might be missing, but um, that yeah, but those were the cameos that I noticed in that video, and it was just a pretty funny song for the most part. Well, video song. I guess you can. I guess I mean he doesn't do it live in concert anymore, so I mean at least I hadn't heard him do it in years. So, but for the most part, I mean it was a very popular song at the time and probably one of the best tracks on the album. So let's move on to "Let Me Ride."
Mm,
Thoughts on this song overall?
I really like the chorus on that one. It's like I don't know. It kind of reminds you of like a gospel song, gone gangster
Mm,
or something. But I like it. I like how. Oh, I already talked about the second verse. In the video, I liked how the Ice Cube had a little cameo. Um, yeah, I think that's about it. I already talked about it a little bit. What did you think about it?
uh, I thought the video was cool for the most part. I think I gave you the shortened end of the video. I got to give you the longer version of the video, but the skit, the $20 sack pyramid, made an appearance like at the beginning. I don't know if you've seen the full video or whatnot, but
Yeah,
um,
that was funny.
yeah, it's a pretty funny. It's a pretty funny skit, but I'll show you the whole. I'll send you the whole video after we're done here. But as for that, just rolling around. Uh, I mean, I thought it was a pretty well done video. Ice Cube's cameo. What's a funny one coming out of the women's restroom and just and then and for the song, I thought it was a great song, great beat. Just talks about pretty much his day rolling through Compton and LA for the most part, and um, being in a six foe, I guess. But all right, and then not necessarily a single, but "Little Ghetto Boy." Any thoughts on the music video or the song itself?
Yeah, I had that listed as one of my favorites.
Mm,
I like I like anything that's trying to like tell a story. So like
okay.
the first verse, Snoop is talking about, he's inhabiting the life of an 18-year-old in jail for murder, and he has to fight to survive. Then in the second verse, Dre is inhabiting the life of a 27-year-old off on parole who ends
Mm,
up getting jacked in a similar way that he would have jacked when he was young. And then, verse 3 when Snoop says, "When you're broke, you break."
yeah.
I really liked it, and I really liked the singer, the guy
Oh,
singing on it. I really
I,
loved that.
bel I think if I didn't know any better, I think the guy singing on it was Nate Dogg. Actually, no. I think no, he was on. No, Nate Dogg. I think was on another song, but yeah, but the guy singing on it, I'm not sure if it was a sample. Yeah, I'm not sure if it was a sample. Yeah, I'm not sure the guy who's singing on it. I'd have to go through the credits of since I got the booklet right here. I can go see who try to that chorus, but yeah, it wasn't Nate Dogg. Nate Dogg was on D's Nuts. I get them confused, but yeah. Uh, let's let's see, but for Little Ghetto Boy, definitely like the whole story behind the whole song. At least the intro, especially the intro, I thought was pretty cool. So all you Africans that want to do things, definitely just telling people to start their own business, and I like the beat also. Beat kind of feels like I don't know, like I'm in a submarine kind of or something like that, or like a kind of a siren. I don't know, but it was it's a good song definitely, and if you do have the album or if you are interested in listening to the album, definitely give it a listen. Probably one of the deepest songs, if not the deepest song on the whole LP. So anyway, so let's get into our top threes and least favorite. We'll start with you. What is your first favorite song? Well, not in any particular order, but what's a song that you really liked on there?
Now, this one, I honestly didn't know which column I was going to put it in,
Mm.
or whether it was going to be my favorite or my least favorite.
Are you
The
serious?
day, the day the niggas took over. uh, I liked it because it was provocative,
Mm.
but I didn't like it that much because it was like uh, it was kind of chaotic in a way, and I don't know if I like the message too much about looting and shooting if you can't loot and all this kind of stuff. But I liked I liked I don't know. It's like today when you think about the riots and you hear people talk about the LA riots, it's like well, these were, very oppressed people and they're fighting back and revolting against the government. But if you hear the people on the ground and they're like, no, I wanna loot you and I might shoot you. It kind of it gives you a little bit of a different perspective on the situation. But I mean, I like having a different perspective, even though it's a little jarring.
All right. Well, we agree on that one. The Data Niggas Took Over is one of my favorite songs on this album as well. It is, well, I mean, I feel like it's a song that, how like music ages well and how some music doesn't age well. I feel like if there's like ever an injustice or anything like that, that just if like you want to hear like a riot song, like yeah, let's go looting. I mean, not that I would encourage it. This is a song you'd want to put on. Definitely up there with any other songs that's going against law enforcement. So it's a, I guess you can kind of say, power to the people song, and what can happen if these injustices aren't addressed. So I feel like it's a very important song. Um, if you're looking at it from that perspective. And aside from that, I think Dr. Dre had a great verse. I think RBX had killed it on here as well, with his verse. Daz, I think he did all right. Zaz had like kind of a different sounding voice back then. I don't know what it was, uh, but for the most part, I think all three of them did a very good job on the song. So uh, let's go on. What is your second pick in terms of your favorites?
It was Lil Ghetto Boy. We already talked about that, but the other one was The Roach.
The
I
Roach,
really, yeah, I really
the
liked that
outro.
one. Yeah, I really liked like the singing on it, and I don't know, it was like a feel good song. It was funny, and it was just great singing.
The Roach isn't one of my picks. So one of my picks, another one of my picks, Stranded on Death Row. That's a song that Dr. Dre doesn't sing on. Well, I don't think he sang on the Roach either. But yeah, Stranded on Death Row. I just like how the Lady of Rage, Corrupt, RBX, and Snoop, they just kill it on this song. Definitely RBX. I liked his verse the most. Lady of Rage, she did her thing as well. Snoop also did a pretty good job. So I mean, I'll give him credit where credit's due. And yeah, so that was a good one. Just talking about being behind bars and on death row. So um, that was one of my favorites, and it had not maybe not the best beat on the album, but a pretty good beat. So and then your third favorite song was "Little Ghetto Boy." Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
little ghetto boy for reasons we've already talked about. And my favorite, well, my third favorite, probably should come no surprise to anyone who knows me well. Let Me Ride. I think it's the best song on the album. I think it's may arguably be the best song Dre ever produced and sang on.
Jesus.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, it's just a good song. It's a good song to ride to, especially if you live in Southern California. Like if you're bumping that down the street, people will, it's a track that, people can't be mad at, Uh, let's see. And then least favorite song, just one.
Probably the rat tat tat song.
Oh, rat tat 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 rat tat tat tat. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like that at the beginning. They're like, in order to make things better, we're gonna have to get rid of the blacks and flip and prostitutes. And then a certain person says, "Nigga, is you crazy?" I was like, "Oh my god." I didn't. I don't know. I almost don't understand what exactly he's trying to promote with the album because in parts it sounds like Pan Africanist, like, oh, we're all brothers and sisters, African brothers and sisters, and then in other parts it's like, I want to kill you. So I don't know. I didn't like the rat tat tat, and I didn't
Uh,
like the beat. I didn't like the beat on it either.
I thought the beat was okay on the song. I mean, it's not one of my favorite songs. Looking back on it, it's not on my everyday playlist, but for the most part, if I'm listening to the whole Chronic, I mean, it's a CD I can listen to all the way through. I mean, the beginning of the song is cool. As for me, aside from the doctor office skit, which I'll just
You
I
hated
will.
the Biggie one too. You hated the one that Biggie did like that too.
Well, I will give Biggie this. The Biggie one was actually a little funnier, and if I were to listen to one or the other, I'd choose the Biggie one because at least he added some humor to it. Yeah, there was no humor about that. But in terms,
Listen.
but in terms of songs, yeah, definitely was not the biggest fan of "Bitches Ain't Shit." It had probably one of the best sounding beats on it, but just overall, I just thought the song didn't flow very well. I didn't think the Dog Pound was very good on it personally. I mean, Snoop was good, Dre was all right, but just yeah, I thought it was just a below
Now
average song at best.
that one, it was funny because I've heard that quote many times before, like bitches ain't shit,
Mhm.
and but hoes and tricks. But I didn't know that the song was like just talking about Easy E so much. Like the way that he casually
Yeah,
refers to Easy E with like female pronouns is very funny.
yeah.
And he says, what does he say? Oh, I used to know a bitch named
Eric
Eric
Wright.
Wright, and
Yeah, that's his real name. But yeah,
and when Snoop says he catches his cousin Daz fucking his hoe,
yeah, he was
and
heartbroken or what.
yeah, and the lady on the song was really singing very well too.
Oh yeah, the singer on there was Jewel, I believe. So,
That's with many of these songs on here.
hmm,
He had a very very good singers on this album.
yeah. So, yeah, I just didn't like how the whole song flowed all together. I mean, even just like with the whole Easy E did thing, that aside, just I just didn't think it was the greatest song. So now that we've talked about the album, let's talk about songs that we thought should have made the album. First, we'll start on "Puffin' on Blunts" and "Drinking on Tanqueray." What were your thoughts on that?
Um, I thought the Lady of Rage had a nice flow.
Mhm.
Um, it seemed like a pretty interesting song. I like the video when they're just all sitting around
Yeah.
rapping. Did you like it?
I thought it's a good song. I mean, as much as this album's reissued, I'm surprised that it hasn't, been added like as a bonus track. But I thought the song I thought was good. I thought the Lady of Rage flowed very well on it. The Dog Pound did great. Dr. Dre was just talking whatever at the beginning of the song, whatever. But I mean, that's what the Chronic was all about. Just introducing new artists, which he did a very great job of. As for the video, I think everyone just chilling there for the most part. It was pretty laid back video, and I thought they did pretty good. And then there was one more track. I'm not sure if I sent it to you. It was Deep Cover, which was on the Deep Cover soundtrack. I'm not sure. I never seen that movie, but it was the first song that Dr. Dre and Snoop had ever sung together. So
Oh, okay. I listened to it. I didn't know it was their first duet.
yeah, it was their first duet.
I liked it though.
Yeah,
It
I
was a
know.
very commercially appealable
Yeah,
song, I guess.
yeah, definitely a commercial beat. And then I know one of the reasons why I'm thinking one of the reasons why it didn't make the album or it hasn't been on any reissues is because Dr. Dre came out himself and said that he didn't really like the song too much after it was done. So that would be my theories as to why it hasn't appeared on any uh like reissues of the Chronic or anything like that. But I mean, it's fine. I mean, it would be nice to get that song on streaming services, but hey, I mean, it's on. You can find it elsewhere if you really want to listen to it. It's a good song. I don't think it's their best effort together, but it's a pretty nice song. But I wouldn't necessarily say it's their worst song together either, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into some recommendations. So for the most part, if you're looking for any work similar to Dr. Dre's The Chronic, obviously, um, the rest of Dr. Dre's catalog, whether it be the Compton soundtrack or uh, 2001, just various songs he's done over the years, just feel free to look it up um, on whatever streaming music service you use, Spotify or Apple Music. In terms of albums that I would recommend personally, I'd recommend the next Death Row album that was done after this one, Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style, and another album by his former NWA bandmate Ice Cube, The Predator, which also came out in that same year in 1992. Especially if you really like that song, The Day the Niggas Took Over, then you're really gonna like that Ice Cube CD. A lot of stuff, going toward the riots and everything. So, in terms of content, anyway, and a little bit of production too. Um, so what are your closing thoughts on the album? Any of these songs you're taking with you to your everyday playlist?
Um, I don't think so. Overall, I mean, I don't know. The only thing I really have to compare it to is the last album that we listened to, and that one to me was a little more. I don't know. It seemed like he more like bore his soul and
Mm.
told about his life. This one, I don't know. Sometimes it seemed like just like violence, violence, violence. I had to look up what is a 187, and when I looked it up, I was
Oh,
like, oh my
it's
god, it's like
the
the
California
California Penal Code,
King Penal
yeah,
Code for
for
murder.
murder.
Yeah. So okay, well, I
Yeah,
mean,
and they said that's so much. It's not something that I could just be listening to every day, but I'm gonna have to listen to it.
for, well, for me, "Let Me Ride" is definitely one of those songs that's always in my playlist. I mean, "Stranded on Death Row" is a very good song as well. Obviously my three favorite songs. What was that? "The Day the Niggas Took Over." Those are songs that are in my favorites. And then just I'll listen to the other songs, if they come on or whatnot. But for the most part, it's I don't listen. I listen to it maybe once every so often if I feel like listening to some Dre or some classic West Coast. But I mean, I don't listen to all the songs all the time like I used to anyway. So um, anyway, so for those of you guys watching or listening, what do you guys think of this album? What are your favorite tracks? What are tracks you liked and what are tracks you didn't like? Please let us know in the comments so we can keep the discussion rolling. Um, Once again, I'm Justin Reed, your boy, aka Too Tall for You Fool. And for Netta, thank you for watching or listening to Listen in 3D episode number 3. We will be back with you real soon with some more content. Thank you very much. Later.